Good morning and welcome to the Dunton Homestead. So today is the middle of the week. Rick is at work, so I am home and just trying to finish getting caught up on things. I've had a light week. I have not spent any time with the grandchildren yet this week. I've got a few hours to spend with them tomorrow. So I have been working on weeding a bit, and today I plan on starting some more seeds, continuing to weed. I may get some wild lettuce extract going. I'm not sure if I'll have enough time for that. I've got bone broth going with necks and chicken feet from the chickens that we finished harvesting this past weekend. I'm trying to finish up on washing all the feathers so I can ship them down to Arkansas to a friend of mine so she can do stuff with them. They take a long time to dry. I've got like lingerie bags, washing them in, then I got them in a pillowcase after they wash to try and prevent the feathers from going everywhere in the washer and dryer where they should not be. They take a really long time to dry. Things are starting to pop around here in the garden in spite of all the weeds and in spite of the rain, maybe because of the rain. So that's exciting, and I'm hoping to start doing weekly garden tours. Maybe this week we'll be able to do that. Maybe Saturday will work out to be able to do that. Thank you for watching today, and let's see what we can get done. The struggle is real as soon as it gets to be consistently 70 degrees out for a few days at a time. These guys come out and start making lace of my squash leaves. In this particular case, my zucchini plant. No idea what that is. Oh, it's gone now. But look, this is exciting. I got zucchini. The bigger ones will be picked today. So I have been coming out first thing in the morning. Throughout the day, I've been home the last few days. Hasn't been as busy for me. And then throughout, periodically through the day, coming out and just picking them. And I may have to look up to see what kind of organic spray I can put on them that won't burn the leaves. Last year I didn't do any type of insect stuff other than picking off bugs. But this year I'd like to try and stay ahead of it so I don't lose a lot of my plants to the insect infestation. Hard to do when you're trying to do things organically. Hard, but not impossible. So I just need to figure out what I can spray on there that doesn't burn the leaves, because when I did that the year before, when I was spraying things the year before, it seemed like it damaged the leaves a little bit. And you damage the leaves a whole lot, then you're going to end up damaging the plant. Those lady squash bugs seem to be leaving my spaghetti squash alone, which is cool. And I have one spaghetti squash. Of course, there's a spider on it. That could be going to town on it. I'll probably check that out. In the last video, I was sharing my frustration with being able to keep up with, not being able to keep up with the weeding. I got in the upper garden, I got as far as the other side of the onions, which I think the onions need to come out in the next week or so, as well as the garlic. I stopped here, ran out of time, or it started raining or something, and so I need to continue on in the jungle. Once I get past this, I'm going to really try and keep up on it, but it's so hard. It's so hard down here. I had also showed you that in the last video how this was just a jungle. Down here has not been weeded at all yet, and you can tell. And I did make some headway in the lower garden yesterday and the day before, in between rainstorms. It's been raining so much. Now, as I've been weeding, I've been tying up the tomatoes. Got some tomatoes down on these ones. So this is what I will be working on today. Turns out it's a lot easier to weed weeds out of mud, pull weeds out of mud, than in the ground when the ground is like concrete from dryness. In between the massive rainstorms we've been having, Rick's been working on the big chicken coop, and we moved the little chicks, the last ones that we hatched out, which were 7 and 6 survived, into the middle coop where we had formerly had the roosters when we were breeding with some of the hens. Now yesterday, 3 of them came out to play, and I had to chase them down with a net to get them into the coop last night. They're not real anxious to come out and explore, which is kind of muddy out here, so can't say I blame them much. We also began integrating the flock that we called the littles. They were the first batch that we hatched out of our flock. Started integrating them with the main flock. So basically we're keeping this door open, and they all roost in their normal coops, but they all hang out together. And there hasn't been any problems. They've been getting along nicely. The Delawares and the New Hampshires are still in one of the chicken tractors. I'd like to start getting them integrated, but they have not become familiar with the other flock at all. And these guys get moved around every day or so, day or two at the most. That way they're not beating down the grass quite so much. So they're getting fresh grass, and I think they're just a little jealous because they see the other ones get a lot of garden scraps and such, and I'm not sure at what age that they're supposed to be getting them. So right now they're on all flock feed. We are down to 4 kosher kings, and these ones we're keeping. The rest of them all went to freezer camp. We finished them up on Monday, and then got them in the freezer last night. And so our freezer's stocked with whole chicken. So that is a good feeling. And we kept these so that we can go ahead and see if we can breed our own. We kept 1 rooster, 3 hens. We're not looking to do that. I mean, these guys aren't even close to laying eggs yet. I don't think that's going to happen until sometime in July, possibly August. So we'll go from there when the time comes. I was trying to decide when I was going to end today, and I ran across a snake, so I decided that now is a good time as any. I got most of the lower garden done. This is where I found the snake, in that section. Section, I should say, for Rick to do. All in all, it's been a pretty productive day today. Got a lot of weeding done. Got some things getting ready to put away. I'll can the broth probably on Friday, but it's going. I have the chicken livers are about ready to finish up in the freeze dryer. I plan to grind those up and put them into gel capsules, and then have liver pills for extra iron. Trying to use every part of the chicken we can. One of the things I realized when we actually started harvesting the chickens, it was, we talked, for months, oh, these guys are going to freezer camp, to really value the life. These chickens, when they were with us, they had a good life, but there's something that connects you to your food when you're taking it out of the pen and you got it underneath your arm and you're walking it up the hill, and it's looking at you and you're looking at it, and it's different than going to buy something with cellophane at the store. There's more of a connection and more of a respect for your food, and I appreciate that. I appreciate learning that lesson. And so I don't want any part of them to go to waste, even the ones that made me angry, the roosters, the beast and the Rocky and the Rainy that came at me. I appreciate them as well. I appreciate the life, and I don't take it lightly. When I was weeding today, something occurred to me. I saw something that I thought I recognized when I was weeding, and I decided to leave it alone. And I did the picture identifier, and it turns out that it's an herb called purslane. Well, purslane is an herb that I actually grew because I was afraid I'd never be able to identify it. As I have been studying herbs this past year, it's fun learning and being able to look at something and say, hey, that's such and such. Well, and to be totally honest with you, there was like 3 or 4 clumps of these herbs that were coming out, that this plant that was coming out, that I wasn't sure what it was. And so I used my picture picture this identifier, and I took a picture, and the first one was purslane. Yeah, purslane. And then I took some more pictures because the leaves were slightly different. They were just slightly different. The stem of it was the same, the way it went across the ground, same color, but the leaves were slightly different. And as it turns out, that was not purslane. So it was something else that I took note of, and I'm going to look it up to see if that also is a herb of some sort. So I started thinking, how many medicinal herbs have I been weeding for the last 3 years and tossing aside or feeding to the chickens this past year, or throwing in the compost pile, that are actually medicinal? Because here I had purslane growing in my lower garden, and I spent money on seeds for it this past year. It's all good. I left what I found growing in the garden. It's sort of in the walkway, but I think once it dries up down there, it'll be really easy for me to find and take. And when I decide to do something with purslane, when I look into what to do with it, it'll be real easy access for me. So anyway, I thought that was interesting, that we look at things as these things as being weeds, and a lot of them could hold some good folk remedies. And just because they're folk remedies doesn't mean they don't work. I mean, pharmaceuticals have only been around for like 100 years, and most of the time when you take something pharmaceutical, if you look at all the warnings and indications and precautions, you could end up worse than when you started. So I'd rather go with stuff that God gives us. So that's what I'm working on for my higher education. Again, thank you for joining me today. If you're interested in any neat t-shirts like this, Homestead Instead, I have recently become an affiliate for Farm Where You Live out of the Carolinas. I'll have the affiliate link down below in the description, and you can go in and check out what the merch is. And when you order something through that link, with t-shirts or tickets when there's events, to go to these events if you're from the Carolina area, I would get a percentage of it. That's all I have for today. Be a blessing and be blessed. But wait, there's more. I forgot to announce in the end of that video that I have decided to join a pantry challenge for the month of June. This pantry challenge was started by Jessica from Three Rivers Homestead. She normally does it the month of January and February, and this year she's decided to also do it in June. If you don't know Jessica from Three Rivers Homestead, you need to follow her. She's one of those homeschooling, homesteading mamas. She's got a gaggle of kids, and she's getting it done, and she's a very real person. It's awesome. I've learned so much from her. So when she did it this past winter, I was not able to do it. I was looking around at my pantry. First I got excited about it, and then I was looking around my pantry, and I'm like, I don't have anything to be able to pull this off. Doing it in June, starting in June, I have a chance to do it. We just harvested a whole bunch of chickens, so I've got that in the freezer. I have stuff that's starting to come out of the garden, I hope to have tomatoes. Bought tomatoes last week at the grocery store, and I'm like, I hope this is the last time I have to buy tomatoes this summer. As another well-loved YouTuber says, that store-bought tomatoes taste like disappointment, and she's not wrong. So I'm gonna start doing this. So this starts June 1st, and if you want to follow me and follow other people that are doing the Three Rivers Pantry Challenge, you can just follow it by looking for the hashtag. And then, Blue's competing with me again. Then you'll be able to find it all. So what I'll plan on doing is doing a weekly video, basically of dinner meals. As far as lunch, I don't eat breakfast most of the time. I tend to do that intermittent fasting thing, and lunches, most of the time I have eggs, so and something else. So what I'll be showcasing is what I put together for meals. One of the fun things about that I'm excited about is that a friend of mine has recently told me about a website called Flavor Fuse, and I'm gonna put that website in the comments. So this website is really cool. I haven't found out a whole lot about like who puts it on or anything about that. There's no affiliate program. There's no who does it, no company that does it, but it's called Flavor Fuse. What you do is in the search bar, you put in what ingredients you have in your pantry. The other day I put in zucchini, pickled beets, and hamburger. I used venison burger, but I put hamburger. And what came up was like a meatloaf hamburger patty with shredded zucchini and topped with pickled beets. It was awesome. So it's like it's not something like if you sit there and you're pulling your hair out, what do I get? What can I put together? And it tasted amazing. So I've used this website 3 times already, and each time the meals are great, and it takes a lot of the guesswork out of it. You just have to be thinking ahead of time, as usual, what you might need to have to pull out of the freezer. So I'm looking forward to that challenge, and I'll be posting dinners, and I'll be doing that once a week. So that's it for real. Bye-bye.